That's good. Your face can be the thumbnail for this.
I've got a face that looks like a thumb.
Your face that looks like a potato, mate.
A blind cobbler's arse.
Right. How's it going, Lampros? You alright, mate?
Oh, we've just been playing your games.
We certainly have. Aaron's just had his first taste of the Hollow Earth hypothesis.
Yeah, I enjoy that, man.
As indeed. And Mike from Rusty Pixels is joining us as well.
Hello.
Another regular viewer.
Another Mike.
And we've got another Mike as well. We've got Mr. Mike Lees.
Then we'll have Mike Rees in a bit as well.
Mike Rees as well, yes, from the Smell the 90s podcast.
Yes, Smell the 90s podcast.
This is one half of it right here.
The best half.
Sipping on my Jack Daniels. Just, it's my way of bribing him here.
I did deliver you a fridge. I think I've earned this Jack Daniels.
Yeah, that's fair enough, to be fair. How's it going, Mike? You alright, kid? Good stuff. Just waiting for everyone to get on, and then we're going to have a bit of discussion about where things are. You've woken it up. You've woken up the beast.
No, it's still in my trousers.
Oh, okay then, fair enough. Dane has just joined us. Oh, fuck. Oh. It's a tripod. It's so hard to get
your
back.
legs out.
You have a bit with all your messing earlier.
Sorry, mate.
Completely messed it up. I don't know. It's right. There's a few people logging on now anyway, so it's all good. Ryan's just jumped on.
You're Ryan.
Yes.
Hello, Ryan.
How's it going? So I'm not going to put my face on screen today purely because I don't want to risk anybody moaning about the quality of my video and the fact that it might cut out.
And you haven't got a studio all of your own.
Yeah, exactly right. Hello, Gary. How's it going, fella? How's it going, Ryan? Yeah, everyone's saying, yo, hi, yeah, how you doing? Right, okay, so what are we jumping on to talk about today then, Aaron? We've got...
Your game?
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
We've got the latest build, and we can shoot now.
Yes, we can. We can indeed. Obviously, I did my video the other day, guys, on Revival Survival. I announced that the game was in production. I showed you some of the PC gameplay, and I discussed about what the conversion process was going to be like to put it onto the next. Well, one sec. So what we've done is in the last 48 hours there's been some rapidly advancing development. First of all, we've now looked at the music library and we've started picking some tracks that we've already kind of pre-arranged and never even got onto the PC version, which we're now going to implement, and they're going to be converted into AY audio tracks. There's some cool, funky new things the simulated AY chip inside the Next can do, and so we're going to try and take advantage of that. And we've got some brilliant chip tune tracks for everybody to
say that again.
To the chip tune tracks.
Nice one.
That are going to accompany the gameplay and kind of psych up the player, I suppose, while they're playing. You know, make it a bit more intense.
I'm hyped, if that's the right word.
Are you hyped? Good stuff. So music's now been implemented and we've got a test track in place. The grid has now been implemented in the game, unlike the other day when it was just free roaming around the screen. Off-screen wrapping has now been implemented, so you can now walk off one side of the screen to the other, and a few other tricks. So let's load it up and show you what's going on with it.
Right then.
We've now got a title screen, sort of. As brief as it is so far, and we'll just take a closer look at the screen here. So you can see, it's weird referring to yourself in the third person, but Craig is walking around the screen, and he's now locked to...
Just showing him that you can't walk through
You can't through stuff, yes. You can actually walk on a full grid now. You can see the first of the collectible objects, the games, are now put in place to show that they're functioning and collectible.
That's a Scottish person.
There's a Scottish person there, a very dodgy demeanour, lurking in the corner.
Master System games, Game Gear games, Master System games, and Mega Drive games.
So you can now collect those, and he's now actually able to defend himself, isn't he? So shooting has been implemented. The good thing is, even though these things seem kind of simple on a game creation kind of place, when it comes to the Next, you do still have to work to sprite limits per line and things like that. And the good news is, These things have been put in to test those limits, and they are fully working. You can have plenty of bullets on screen at once. You can have plenty of the collectibles on screen. You've still got the animated characters in the background. You can now walk on and off the screen, as Aaron will now demonstrate. Before, you would just kind of walk off into an empty void, and you can see you reappear on the other side of the screen. So, progressing well. The grid is pretty much locked in place. You might need to adjust the graphics slightly to make it fall in line. Oh, and we've now got breakable objects as well. So, the paths you would take on the PC version, go and hit the one on the other side, mate. You can now destroy the banners to collect games as well, just like on the PC version. You should just about be able to hear the backing track. And
the music's really good. We just listened to it through, didn't we?
We certainly did, yeah. We've listened to it on full cycle. There's going to be a lot of pretty cool chiptune music going on in the background. We've now actually got a scoring system in place. And I can tell you there's actually a few things going on underneath on layers you can't see. Such as saving settings, high score support. It's all being implemented right now.
You should be able to break Mike's shit.
Well, I think we'll be able to in the full upgrade. We'll break his Mega Drive there on the corner.
As long as it ain't mine, because he's modding mine in a couple of weeks. So just wait for that, will you?
So yeah, Revival Survival is progressing rapidly now. I've also made some updates to the PC version now. The PC version is going to be progressing alongside development of the next version, so I can finally get it completed. And on that, I've now implemented the music tracks to the stage, to most of the stages. I've made some alterations to the final credits screen. I've changed some of the graphics effects.
It's like I'm pissing on your brother's head.
I say, it's like you're pissing on the back of my brother's head there. Thanks for that. And yeah, so you can see we've got a good kind of layering effect there. You can see which sprites take priority. Obviously, the bullets are effectively going behind him there, so you can see that the dimensions and the perspective of everything are all in order. So yeah, come on a long way in the last 48 hours, guys. I'll be doing more updates of this very soon, you'll be glad to hear. But I mean, just from start up to this point, it's now starting to look like an game, isn't it?
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this. It was really good on the arcade. I'm definitely going to have a copy. Well, I'm going to have a copy because I'm going to be fucking in it, aren't I? So,
of course you are, yes.
So, giz it.
Giz it, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I've already spoken about this, but the PC version will finally get out to everybody, and I will find some way to make it up to the people who've been waiting such a long time. But yeah, there's going to be a full next version of this to accompany the PC version, and the game is going to evolve as time has moved on as well. So some of these characters you'll see probably removed, some characters added. There's going to be a few more enemies, and there's now work underway to finally complete the last stages. The infamous John Budd stage. Did you ever get that far in the game?
Which one was that?
The John Budd stage. The one where you go to the stage and everything is John Budd.
No.
Didn't you only get to the John Budd stage?
I got to the attic attack one. What was the one after that? Because I did do that, but what was after that?
After the attic... I don't want to give too much away, but the final stages anyway were incomplete. Right. You've still got the bar, the lounge, the talks area to go through.
Yeah.
But yeah, the final stages were placeholders, and
no, I've never seen that.
Our good Scottish friend John Budd it was basically stage one, but with John Budd's completely plaguing the screen. So yeah, the John Budd stage will be replaced with hopefully quite an epic boss fight in the Bomberman style. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully that'll be a better way to finish the game than just continuing the collect 'em up kind of style, and give a bit of variation to it. But yeah, so we've now got a moving game, we've got music, we've got function.
But it's still good though, I mean, because it ain't just a plain collectathon. I mean, you've got the enemies with different patterns and different strengths, and you've got there was one level where like you've got to turn the electric on or the electric off or something.
You had to avoid the electrical components to get to the final piece of the puzzle. Yeah,
that was it. Yeah.
There's a few things we should be able to implement, and we'll hopefully.
You're going to put that in this version.
Yes, that will be in. We might add a few extra graphical effects, and hopefully the intermission screens will be livened up slightly. Maybe we'll make them either partially interactive or give them little themes of their own, maybe a bit more like the Pac-Man intermission screens.
Oh, yeah, that when they met and things like that.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do with that. But yeah, it should be quite cool to do some little tricks on this, and hopefully the guys who are working on the coding with me They might be able to suggest some cool little tricks and features that will highlight things that the Next can do that the original Spectrum couldn't. So I think that'll be pretty cool. So anyway, that is Revival Survival on the Spectrum Next, the progress so far, and hopefully in a few days, couple of weeks, who knows, we'll have another update for you and show you how things are progressing.
Yeah, no real more character.
Yes, I will do.
Fuck's sake.
Right,
Come on.
Just hit the reset on that, please, mate.
No worries, mate.
Awesome stuff. Right, so yeah, coming on to the next subject. We're going to talk a little bit about something that's hit the headlines today. I think between us humble guys here in the Midlands, between our friends in and around the Midlands,
those old-fashioned dinosaurs.
Yeah, our friends on the scene and people who've been helping out behind the scenes over the last year or so. Today, a face from the past has kind of re-emerged in the last couple of days, and the first Games Animal TV spot has dropped, hasn't it?
It has, yeah, little teaser. Facing some old demons with that Mario Kart. No, with that fucking Mario 64.
Yeah.
Mate, I can never get into Mario 64. I can never get on with it. So that's how much I think of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, like the he's put out the first show for the people who aren't aware. Dave has basically released obviously his first show, hasn't he? We at Revival Retro Events have obviously created a rather large special show, which is more akin to the format of Games Master and Games World. I was involved in it. Aaron here was involved in it. Some of the Revival team, we've taken trips down to Dave's place to do filming and things like that. That is still being cut together because life gets in the way. Certain things happen, and obviously, I know a lot of people are waiting on that special.
People got shit to do.
Well, yes, exactly. People have got shit to do. And,
it's definitely coming. We're all fucking well behind it and loving it.
It is indeed.
I'm loving this little teaser trailer as well.
Well, that's right. I mean, Dave's been inspired. Dave was keen to get some stuff out there, and Dave has dropped.
There's 9 specific things I really like about it, actually.
9 things?
Yeah.
What are those 9 things?
There's 2 tits. There's another 2 tits. There's another 2. That's 6. And if my maths am right, there's 3 arses on the bottom of them sets of tits. So that's 9 things I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. The for anybody who hasn't seen the Games Animal TV first little episode, it's something to behold, isn't it? Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's something I kind of want to discuss on here, and there's a good reason why we want to discuss
Let's
it.
have the camera on both of us then.
Yeah,
let's do this.
Let's do this.
Because then I can sneak off and get another Jack Daniels as well.
Oh, is that the way it works?
That's
right.
the way it works.
Hopefully you won't see too much of my rank kitchen. Let me just check that we're in shot on that one. I think we both should be. Right. Okay. So, don't touch my leg hairs though.
Okay. Go touch your pubic hairs.
Well, whatever.
So,
So anyway, yeah.
I think I've still got one of my teeth.
That wouldn't surprise me. I did tell you to swallow.
You look great.
So yeah, Games Animal TV's dropped, and Dave has done it entirely in Dave's style.
And
right?
ain't the social justice warriors really getting their fucking arse in their hands?
Well, yeah, there's been some controversy. I mean, let's not beat around the bush.
When did women in bikinis become controversial? When the fuck did that happen?
It's quite sad, and let's not forget that you're not supposed to be slut shaming these days.
Oh, no.
So for people to criticise women empowering themselves, and that's what they're doing. They did it voluntarily. They're friends.
Really? I thought they were his slaves.
They're friends of Dave's.
Yeah.
He's worked with them on their modelling careers, modelling for tattoos and everything.
Yeah.
But this is all the kind of thing that has been washed over a lot today, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's been washed over a lot in favour of the shock headlines of Mr. Dave Perry's back with the worst of the 90s.
Yeah, some things should stay in the 90s. What tits and arse should stay in the 90s?
Well, if you firmly believe that, then...
And let's face it as well, it's all done with a massive tongue in the side of the cheek.
It's
done for a fuck about. And you know, he's got to be glad with the fucking response he's had as well. I'll be honest, I am.
Right.
I'm loving all this Fallout. I think it's fucking amazing.
It's brilliant. It's hilarious, right? For anybody who doesn't know, right, the whole thing behind Games Animal TV, right? Like obviously we got talking with Dave. We encouraged him to make his way to Revival last year, and Revival this year, and then shortly after Revival last year, me and him went down, took a trip. And Dave expressed a wish to want to come back and maybe revisit gaming, but wasn't quite sure how to go about it. And his daughter was there and friends and family, and they said like, you really should try it out, but you've got to go with like the modern format, which obviously is
the internet,
YouTube, and self-production. So we got talking more and more, and we kind of moved things along, and then we agreed to do this special as like a promo for Revival, in which we've recorded challenges. We've recorded some pretty cool pieces, which you're going to see soon. We've got a top-end photographers in to do it. We've got some good videography done. It's all going to be cut together in a very much a TV style, but it is fully zero budget and fully fan-made, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, of course. We went down and built a little set on a parking ticket.
That's it, yeah. We got a parking ticket. Full commitment. A bunch of us gamers just took a massive trip all the way down to the South Coast and made this game, and
tattoo shop.
Made this video in his tattoo shop. We set up a studio, and Dave was fully down for this. He's not earning anything from it. He's got no reason to come back, and he's got no apologies to make on the gaming scene. The guy is a legend as far as gaming TV goes. He's a legend as far as gaming history goes, because it represents a time, we were in our teens, in the 90s.
Just that blip when he was on the TV. He loves it. I mean, we was there talking about old games, and not even old games, newer stuff, right through up to your PlayStations, your Xboxes, and what he told him to me, that he got such a vast knowledge across the decades, was we were talking about things like Speedball, and then he's like, have you ever played Deadball Zone? He's like, I was trying to remember Deadball Zone. It's like, he's always been into it. He's always been there.
See, because something you got to understand, everybody sees Dave as this persona, right? And this is where we're going to lead into, right? Dave was always this persona to people, and when he exited Games Master, he continued in gaming TV for a good few years after that. Games World was really successful, and he did a few other things as well. He was still in the game journalism, he was doing the magazines and everything. And the thing not everyone realises about Dave is Dave has got a genuine love for the games, and part of his reason for exiting the scene back then was the fact that it had become a bit toxic, a bit spiteful. Everybody was trying to do their own thing.
That doesn't sound like the gaming scene.
You know what I mean? And it does kind of echo of what's kind of going on right now. And the problem is that he wanted to cover the games, and it might be hard to believe, but Dave was the proponent of keeping the gaming shows very much about the games. Remember he was saying, as?
I do, yeah.
Yeah?
When it started to migrate to, silliness and move away from the games, he wanted to go back to the game.
Opponents to the fact that they were making it about the girls and just trying to get hits on the TV and all the innuendo. So I find it very ironic that people...
Well, yeah, they were leaping on him, and he's just taking the piss out of it all.
And what people don't realise is that Dave is a straight-laced, he's a family guy. No one out there really knows him. We don't know him, but we've come to appreciate the guy, and we've come to learn to know the guy as much as we can in the last 12 months. And he's very genuine, and I think that people to call him out is just completely wrong. And the whole point of this first show that he's put out, it's to... Basically, you all know him as a persona, right? He has got a certain way about him, he has got a certain demeanour, but at the end of the day, you all know him as a character, a TV character. He never wanted to do the bandana thing, did he? He said he wanted to abandon that, but then he knew that it was more sensible to run with it, and so he created this persona on TV. And the reason that we've gone about the project the way we did, we all discussed this in the opening. We saw that trailer. We saw those credits.
Don't avoid it. Don't run from it. Lean into it. Fucking own it.
Yeah.
And don't get
me wrong. We're not idiots. Dave's certainly not an idiot. We knew it would draw controversy, and we certainly knew it would raise a few eyebrows. But that is the whole point, right? Back in the day, Channel 4 was the youth TV. It was the culture where they were very anti-establishment.
That's where you got your edgy shit back then.
Yeah.
You ain't got the internet. You got cable and shit, but not like it is today.
Not like today.
You got your edgy shit, you know, after tea time on Channel 4 right through up until you come back from the pub with your mum and dad there.
That's right.
Fucking mad shit on at midnight, you know what I mean?
And
It's the edgy stuff.
And Games Master fully tapped into teen culture of the time.
Yeah.
Games were exploding, you know. The 90s saw more growth even than the 80s in some ways, didn't
Yeah,
it?
definitely.
In terms of becoming part of popular culture rather than just for
Nerds in
and
basements.
kids, you know what I mean? And so Dave was a big part of that era. And, you know, he you had to kind of... You got to crack a few eggs to make an omelette, and I think that's the way they treated it then. Now, what's happened in recent years is, we think anyway, and this was the big thing we discussed with Dave when we first talked about it. He'd made the same observations. He said that the gaming world became stale. You know, the gaming TV was lost in the internet age and became stale. Nothing was really created of note after Games Master and after Games World and things like that. And it's a shame it wasn't there. Me personally, I'm speaking for myself.
I'll speak for me as well if you want. If you talk shit, I'll just call you out.
The closest thing we even got in recent years, unfortunately, was, for TV anyway, was Go 8-Bit. And I'm going to say openly, I absolutely hated that show. I thought it was one of the most abysmal, cringeworthy...
I don't like it either.
It was so stale.
And I like some of the components of it.
Yeah.
Like Dara O'Brien, I think he's great. And he
Dara's
likes
great.
his games
Dara
and
was
stuff.
the best part of it.
Yeah, but the show, I watched 3 episodes and that was enough.
Yeah. It tried to push an agenda. It tried to tick so many boxes to make current ratings work instead of just being about the games.
Yeah, just instead of being itself, doing what it wanted to do, and if it flopped, it flopped. If it succeeded, it succeeded.
And it was, I think it was pretty obvious in that just how much corporate nudging and backhanding was going on by the type of games they were showing. You know, they were putting on like new games and crappy mobile games and stuff.
Yeah.
And they didn't really belong. You know,
And when they put a proper game on, I remember one of the couple of episodes I watched. It was a very technical fighting game. I think it was Marvel vs. Capcom or X-Men vs. Street Fighter, and the people that got to play were awful. And it's like, why am I watching this? I wouldn't watch this if it popped up on my internet browser on YouTube. No. I'll go watch Daigo Mahara play at the top level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's nothing in this for me at all.
Nothing at all. Right, I'm just pulling my laptop up here because I've got the camera facing the wrong way. I can't see everyone's comments, but if I pull it up on the laptop, I should be able to read people's comments as we go. So,
I think one of the things as well is where Dave's sort of dropped the bomb is, and I'm speaking from the perspective of a socialist as well.
Okay.
I'm speaking from the perspective of a lefty. Everything's got very social justice warrior, very bland, very dare not offend anybody at any cost. So then everything falls into a very grey middle ground of nothingness, of blandness. And Dave out from that era, we certainly out from that era, and even speaking as a fucking lefty, I ain't like that either. So Dave coming out with a bit of, fuck this game, here's some tits and arse. Yeah, great. You know, it's a nice little teaser. Let's see the next episode, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what you've got to appreciate, right? Any publicity is good publicity. One thing we knew would happen as a result of Dave coming back and like the way he wanted to do things, we always said it's about self-production, it's about self-expression. These days, everybody is supposed to be allowed to self-express. That's the whole point. You can't like encourage self-expression and then say, oh no, you can't do that.
As long as it fits within this box.
Yeah, as long as it fits within the box.
Because that is self-expression. That's the person's expression who's defining the outlines of the box.
Yeah, and Dave really wanted to break the mould, you know, and I think the whole point is that with Dave kind of doing that, you know, that was never really intended to be anything but. 1 second, let's turn the volume down here. Sorry.
I feel like one of them radio
producers. Yeah, I'm watching myself.
Can you turn your radio down, please? Can you turn your radio down?
This is very unrehearsed. I do apologise, guys. At the end of the day, it's live and it's gritty.
Hang on, you're telling me your videos are unrehearsed?
Yeah, just a bit.
Hell.
Right, sorry guys. I will go back through some of your early comments here, but I'm going to continue to speak about it. But I can see your comments now, so we'll keep going through them. It's also good because I can also see what kind of video delay you're dealing with as well. So, yeah, hi everybody, hi Dylan, hi Mike.
How's the sound?
Yeah, and the sound should be okay from this side of the camera, I think. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, going back to Games Animal TV again.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm just going to briefly skim over it again. The show has gone out, the special is coming, there's loads more content to come. Dave knew with the first episode, he's got to grab all of your attention, and it's something we discussed early on, it's something he wanted to do, and if you honestly believe that what he's put out there is serious, then you're mugging yourself, and you need to give your head a bit of a wobble.
If you think that is some kind of serious, ingrained sexism, then obviously nuance has no meaning to you. There is no nuance. Is dead.
Yeah.
Satire is dead. Okay, it's cack-handed and in your face and lacking subtlety, but it's meant to. It's meant to.
Pushing the envelope is what's needed. You know,
that's a horrible corporate phrase.
I know. But trying to get people engaged. You don't need to do shock tactics, admittedly, right? But up until this point, response to the return was kind of lukewarm, and to try and get across what everyone was Dave and us was trying to communicate to people, it was that it's going to be unapologetic. It's going to be pulling no punches. It's going to be real. It's going to be about the games. It's going to be gritty, and it's going to be self-produced. It's going to be honest. Anything that's said, you can't say is not honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, the whole tongue-in-cheek thing comes from the fact that at the time, during the 90s, the era was very focused on teenage, children, teenage boys. For all you can comment about maturity, right? It hit the right note. And there's a reason that Games Master is the one TV show that is most fondly remembered and most often missed.
Yeah.
And it's because of all those elements. You couldn't cut any one single element of those shows out and have had the same show. If you took out the grid girls kind of thing, the women coming on bringing the joysticks. If you cut out Dominic's innuendo, if you cut out the little spats between them, if you cut out the holes in the production, you know what I mean? If you cut...
I'm just running it all back now and thinking...
You know what I mean? Yeah. If you cut out any single one of those elements of Games Master, it wouldn't have been the show that you remember. And Games World borrowed on that. You've got to remember some of the same people were involved in the production. And Dave continued his career on that. And it ticked a new box, it went very showy, I
could have done without Dominic Diamond's wardrobe, if I'm being honest.
Well, yeah, I think he probably looks back at that himself and cringes a bit, but, it's about trying to recapture that era. Now, like I say, Dave is a very straight-laced guy, he's a very nice man, he's got all his morals in the right place, he's not the person he was painted to be by TV.
He was a character.
And you've got to run with that character. Everyone out there knows Dave as a slightly cocky, womanising, maybe arrogant, maybe a bit narcissistic, probably a bit...
Never boys around.
Yeah, a bit braggadocious with his gaming skills and things like that, right? Those are not negative qualities. It made...
In a character.
This TV character, and that was why you remember Dave for who he was. So it would be silly to kind of brush over that. Now, if you're trying to say he's a sexist, he purely isn't. If you're trying to say he's offensive and stuck in the past, he isn't. He's smart enough to know that is exactly where he was coming from back then. That's what you remember, and that is exactly what you're expecting. And to do it now in a different world, a different environment, it's really challenging the boundaries that exist. People are more than ever, especially in a more open society, people are censored more and more.
What he was doing prime time on mainstream television in the 90s, for a little teaser trailer, he's getting him fucking lambasted.
Yeah.
In the... what year is it on now? 2042 or whatever it is?
Yeah, exactly. And this is the shame. It's been lost on so many people because the world of gaming media now is driven by people who weren't there then. And the ones who were probably the people who didn't feel very included at the time.
Yeah.
For better or worse. I'm not saying it was right to out people or the whole, cool and geek thing was a big problem back then. People fell into...
The fact of life, and it
was
still
a
is
fact
today.
of life, yeah. And the point is, the whole reason this episode was so in your face is because it needed to instantly hit you and not bullshit you and say, this is gaming TV as it was, this is how you remember me, and this show is going to be me doing my thing, and I don't give a shit what you think.
He's put all his ducks in a row, and he just put them out there, and I don't fucking blame him, to be honest with you. And I hope the next episode and the episodes to come are the same.
Yeah, totally. You know, it's got to be done, because somebody's got to be keeping it real. You know, and that's Revival. That's what we've always been about.
Us middle-aged virgins need somebody to look up to, and it's got to be the games animal.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
It's not out there to intentionally offend anyone. If it's been lost on you, like I say, I think you're missing something.
It's because you weren't there, man. You weren't there.
That's exactly what it is. And you know, we're fully behind what Dave has done, and it's not to cause offence to anyone. It's not to cause any problems. It's the fact that people aren't getting this is what we think is wrong with gaming. And as retro gamers, it's a big part of what's missing from probably the best period of gaming history that there was. You know what I mean? The 80s and 90s are why the gaming scene as it exists now, with all your tournament gaming and esports and massive grand E3 shows and everything, is what it is. So if you fail to acknowledge that, I'm not saying it should be brought back verbatim, but what I am saying is that we understand, and I think retro gamers of the right disposition and of the right age especially will know what it is, and will see Dave's thing for what it was. Yeah. It's not a sexist attack. It's not a challenge on anybody's masculinity or femininity.
It's a pastiche, a caricature, and he is a character.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it as well, there is always, you can just say, you don't have to, Gary.
Yeah.
If it's not for you,
just don't watch it.
That's fine. That's
it's simple.
Okay.
Everybody knows that. Dave knows that.
I don't think there's a battle here to be had.
No,
and certainly not one to be fought and won by anybody.
This isn't really a show that has been done to win people over, just grab random clicks and to make a load of money. If you notice, this is all at zero profit. There's no monetization going on. We aren't profiting.
Well, hang on a minute.
What?
No money.
What?
There's no money involved.
No.
Fuck's sake.
No, shit. Sorry, mate. I've just dropped the bomb there on Aaron now. He's out, I think. So.
I'm taking that half a curry back with me tonight.
I know, yeah. I mean, eventually, you know, the videos will be monetized. You know, Dave will do whatever he wants to do with the channel. That's his choice. But the thing is, you know, Dave has come back because he feels the time is right. He feels that something's missing from the scene like we do. And he's trying to inject a bit of that magic back into it, just to kind of remind people of how good it was for the period. We're not saying all the elements were perfect. We're not saying that kind of thing was...
It'd be good to see things like some really good... I mean, I know it might sound minor, but I'll tell you what I miss, really good game challenges.
Yeah.
Because you never had that on Go 8-Bit.
No.
I mean, well, I've only watched a couple of episodes, but every time reliable, you know, information that you don't really have good challenges.
No.
And it'd be nice to see some good, obviously not world class, but you know, well, you never know you're going to unearth, but it'd be nice to see some good people play some good games well, and really, you know, you'd see the audience in Games Master, they'd really be like, come on.
Proper psyched for it, yeah.
I don't want to see two cunts who've never heard of Ryu and Ken jumping all over the screen,
exactly.
doing nothing. I don't want to fucking see that.
Well, I'll go on where it's going just after this. I'm just going to check in on some comments here, guys.
I'd rather watch you, carry on checking the comments, I'd rather watch you with my Master System aeroplane wheel trying to play fucking California games. Right. Now that was fun, that was interesting.
Right. Evening, Andy. Glad you've joined us, mate. Evening, Rich. Good to see you too. And thanks for checking in as well, Blake. Chris Richardson here, one of our traders. We do some of the gaming at... Chris's Geek Trader event up in Hull. He's a good chap.
Have I been to that one with you yet?
You haven't been to that one with me yet, but he has traded at our shows. He was at the front at Revival this year.
Yeah.
Basically, he said here, the Eurogame article was fantastic. They couldn't get a bite on the sexism, so focused on it being 480p. I mean, what the fuck? Totally missed the sarcasm.
That's
right.
Scraping the fucking barrel.
Okay. Let's address that again. If this has been lost on you, you've become a tech snob, right? It was representative of the 90s, right? Dave intentionally put that out there in a lower quality because it had snippets of videos from past from the past era and things like that. It was intentionally done that way.
I was going to say, the bloke who we went down with to build the set, he's a proper fucking... He makes his own films.
It's been recorded in 1080p.
Yeah, he's got a camera worth more than my car. It was done on purpose.
The full production is a lot higher quality. We've got full capture device and everything tooled up with Dave. There's a lot more going on than you've been even seen so far. And going forward, these kind of criticisms, they're real nitpicking and they can't go any further with it. It seems like people are just trying to shoot it down and they haven't even seen any content. Now, what's important, this is the most important thing, right? From day one, Dave knew he wanted to cover proper gaming. This is a preview to what's going to go on and the kind of attitude. It is not an indication of the content, right? We know what's been filmed, don't we? And we know what Dave is intended to film, right? Going forward, Dave has created a list of stuff he wants to cover, a load of features he wants to do, people he wants to get on. We're going to be arranging guests and all kinds of things because we've got contacts through that world. And as far as what we did, we did a load of really cool stuff that's going to be cut in. You'll see none of that. The Bikini Babes bit...
We didn't even meet him.
Now, some of you will be sad to know that section was only ever intended for the rolling credits. So that shows how much people are jumping on it as though that's going to be the content of the show.
I drove 200 fucking miles to deliver the arcade cab and I did not get one sniff of bikini when I was there. I just got Dave's daughter playing fucking Mario. Playing Mario on an arcade cab, the Wii version, we know Wiimote, wondering why I can't fucking do all the special... that's what I got.
No, Kirsty's just jumped on and said he doesn't seem like the type. Kirsty is understanding it. Kirsty's from a younger generation.
Kirsty gets it.
And she's getting it, you know what I mean? And Kirsty would be first to call it if she thought it was bullshit, so... Andy Johnson says 480p looks great on a CRT. Just saying. There we go. See, exactly. Some people are totally getting it. And Gary Crow says it seems like great marketing to me. Gary, you know what?
It is.
You are bang on. What has happened, right, in the last 3 to 4 days? What has happened? The video went up on Sunday with quite a quiet reveal. Not too many people even checking in on it, right? We were even absent because we were busy doing things, right? Like I say, we're editing the special, but Dave is now self-producing. We're just providing assistance to him.
And extra content.
And stuff in the future. But we weren't around for it. So when it dropped, it dropped a lot of people by surprise. I mean, it announced it was coming, but some people had never even known it was coming, even though we've been bigging it up for 6-12 months, you know what I mean? Some people don't follow us, they don't realise. And then it drops... And, it gets good acclaim. It gets the kind of digs we thought it would get. Dave expected a bit of backlash. And he's dealt with it in the best way Dave knows how. Now, if you haven't seen, there's been a Eurogamer article. And there's also been another couple of ones done by other people. And if you look at the contrast between the way the interviews are being conducted, because they've been conducted fast... And they're doing it because they want to big themselves up. So to pretend that they hate it, they're doing it for their own circulation.
Probably offended on other people's behalf.
Yeah, exactly. So let's push that aside for a sec. But yeah, the contrast in the reviews has been massive. But the reviews that scathe it are saying, overwhelmingly people are saying that they hate it, should stay in the past. If you actually go to the video, and I encourage that you do, and watch and judge for yourself, and also look back at some of the things that we've been posting about it, to see what the real content is going to be. If you actually follow the scene, which obviously these people aren't doing, you will see exactly what Dave was trying to do, and you will see that for every negative comment, there are probably 3 or 4 people saying, welcome back, Dave, we totally get what you're doing. It's funny, you know what I mean? It's funny because it's taking the piss out of himself, right? And there's no more evidence of that than the subject matter he's picked for episode 1. Now, everybody knows Dave Perry's exit from Games Master was epic and all centred around an incident regarding Mario 64, right? We've had lengthy discussions with him. We try to bat it off when everyone discusses him normally.
Yeah.
But we've had private discussions with him. We know the story. We've got some other insider information. Everybody knows what happened pretty much by now, right?
And insider information that nobody really knows as well.
Yeah, there are a few things which we'll probably come into another day. But the bottom line was...
Something for the show.
Something for the show. The bottom line was, nobody really knew, how bad that affected Dave. It hit him hard.
Yeah, big time.
It scarred him hard, and there was a lot of... I mean, you're talking about you being inclusive and things like that. Dave was pretty much bullied out at Games Master, right? And it's not very fair, you know what I mean? And he's had 20 years where he could have set the record straight. He hasn't. And he hasn't done it because nobody wanted to listen. He's become a parody to some people. His character's become a parody. And he's always refused to do it. Now, after much badgering, right? And believe me, we pushed for months. We said, Dave, why don't you revisit Mario 64?
He had, because he'd been, sorry to interject, I'm not sorry, because he'd been away from the scene for so long, I don't think he had no idea, well, he didn't have any idea what the scene was like.
No.
And how many people would love to see him back. And when he came to that first revival, and he saw all the people coming up, shaking his hand, smiling, wanting pictures taken, he was like, fuck, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, and it was very much the presence and the welcome invitation revival and the warming crowd that's there. The real gamers who are interacting with other gamers on the scene, not hiding behind desks, not writing stupid articles
with fake profiles
for crappy rags, you know what I mean, with fake profiles. The real people who are out on the scene and are very honest about who they are. They, he was amongst those people and he liked what he saw. So he'd never owed anyone an explanation. He never needed to set the record straight. He made a new life. He rebuilt his previous attraction to the tattooing world, and he's built a massive reputation on that scene. If you've never seen what Dave's done on the
yeah, he's got framed pictures of himself in tattoo magazines, articles.
Yeah, he's very widely renowned.
He went from one world which he conquered, and he went to another.
He did, yeah. And he's decided to come back now because the fella's not getting any younger. Although the bastard doesn't seem to age, which is
fucks me off.
It really annoys you, doesn't it?
He really does look younger than you.
Fuck off. So and he now thinks the time is right to come back. He's got no reason to. He doesn't owe anybody, but he's coming back to give his brand of humour. Bring back who he was, and he has offered, he's laid down the gauntlet to people saying, if you really want to see me play this game that buried my fucking TV career...
with the picture, with the doll of Mario attached to a dartboard behind
We didn't know if he would ever do it, we tried to convince him, and we said...
Fucking own it, man,
you know what, he's owning it, and he has offered to do it in a way that, benefits everybody because everyone's going to get to see it.
And we'll all get a kick out of it.
The guy is willing to take the piss out of himself all over again after spending 2 years rebuilding his reputation the way he sees on the gaming scene for your entertainment. Now, if you can be critical of the bloke for throwing in a bit of a kind of in-joke and some tongue-in-cheek
tits and arse.
Yeah, then... you really need to start questioning yourself and wonder if you're just a bit of a stick in the mud or wondering if you're
scared of tits and arse.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I am. But, I'll embrace them. Really will embrace them. But now, quickly, before you move on, bag of tat or the game?
Bag of tat or the game. Bag of tat or the game.
Now, see, it's hard for us because we can get to fucking do both if you want to.
Yeah.
But if not, gun to the head moment... You hadn't got the choice. You weren't able to see both. Bag of tat or game?
Bag of tat.
Yeah.
And do you know why?
I think so as well.
Because the gaming thing has been talked about for years, right? And it really doesn't fucking matter.
But nobody's seen his bag of tat.
But the bag of tat is history and it's nostalgia and everybody wants to see that.
I mean, he was telling us I ain't going to mention any... I'm not going to be gratuitous and mention any figures, but... apart from the ones that were around that cab on the intro. He told us how much he sold one of his golden joysticks for, didn't he? Fuck, man.
Yeah, it was a massive amount. I actually know one of the guys who's got one of the golden joysticks from the show as well. Yeah, he's on this chat.
He's on this chat?
He's on the chat, yeah.
Is it?
Andy Johnson says, is he coming to Revival next weekend? Unfortunately not, guys. Dave... I know he's been a great attraction to the shows in the past. but Dave has pretty much categorically said that he probably will not be able to make any event appearances in the foreseeable, right? He's done great for us, you know, it's been a good pull and everything.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to outstay his welcome, for one. And for two, the guy's got a massive business to run.
And this is not the main revival event. It's it's an
this
end of
one's a
year
smaller
piss
one,
up
yeah.
get together. It's a much smaller affair. Still going to be some great stuff there. Some great guests. Lots of cool machines. I mean, I'm bringing some stuff myself that I've never brought before.
Yeah.
That I've never played before. I'm actually looking to enjoy a play on myself. But he's going to come back in the future. Let's face it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dave will do something with us in the future. I mean, the ball's in his court now with Games Animal TV. We wish him all the best, and we are continuing to support him behind the scenes. And let's not forget our Games Animal TV special. It's continuing to be edited, and it will be finished pretty soon. There's some cool stuff to go on that, and that will probably be more of exactly what you were expecting to see. So, if you haven't given Dave a chance to this point, and you haven't given Games Animal a chance, or if you're just listening to haters who love to do nothing more but piss on other people's parade, then I suggest you go check it out for yourself. Bear in mind the kind of things we've said here, and then look at it with an open mind.
Yeah, just see if you enjoy it. If you don't, you don't. And there's other gaming things out there you can watch as
enjoy
well.
it,
Now
but
anyway,
if you don't, what's the key lesson here? Don't fucking watch it. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bitch about it and tell other people what they should and shouldn't be watching. Just go off and watch something else. Simple as that. Right. Anyway, so.
do you want to play something?
Yeah, let's play some games now. It's time to move on.
I need to occupy my hands with something else other than alcohol.
Right then. So I'm going to shift over the laptop again now because we don't need that for a while. We need to go on to a slightly lighter note.
A much slightly lighter note.
Can
you have a much slightly lighter note? Is that that's a contradiction, a tautology?
I think it might be.
It sounds fucking stupid anyway. But the much lighter note is we've got these two lovelies.
We have, yes. I'm just going to shuffle some things around. Right. Let's kill
I'm just going to move the camera around so you can have a look while he's doing
messing.
Shit.
Right. So
we've got this big nasty bad boy here. No, it's not a Sega Saturn with the wrong writing on. It's a Neo-Geo CD. But what's this next to it? It's much faster, slimmer, more expensive cousin. Oh, look.
Shiny.
So hopefully we're going to do a bit of a comparison as well.
Yeah.
We haven't got two tellies set up because that'd just be decadent and ridiculous. But we have got a stopwatch, and we're going to we're going to see what the loading times are like.
We are indeed. One thing I was covering last week is I was discussing the Neo Geo CD, and obviously mentioned that the CDZ, I managed to get a good deal on this. I mean, this is a fair bit more expensive than buying the standard Neo Geo CD. Now, anybody who's a good retro gamer will know that the Neo Geo CD certainly had issues with regards to loading and access times.
Not even the times. It was things like the more advanced games, like the later King of Fighters. You'd have loading times between. Was it rounds?
Between rounds.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
On fighting games.
That's mental.
Yeah, and it got a really bad rep, and we don't think that it's deserved. You know, the Neo Geo as a platform. You know, it was an arcade platform first, which then got successfully made into a home system and not converted. I mean, the hardware that's in these is pretty much identical to the Neo Geo MVS arcade hardware, and the same as the AES as well, the cartridge-based system. Now, the reason we're big fans of these is, for me in particular,
because it's cheap.
It's cheap, exactly.
I mean, by today's standards, no. I mean, you know, if you're on the fucking dole, you ain't going to be going out buying a Neo Geo CD. But relatively speaking, if you're going to buy a cartridge-based Neo Geo, you might be forking out £200 for a fucking medium price sort of game. Well, not only can you get the CD games, the proper CD games, much cheaper, you can fucking burn them as well for nothing.
Yes, you can.
You know what I mean?
And we've discussed the whole grey area. Well, it's not even a grey area, right? Piracy is illegal, right? Retro systems are no longer profitable. They're no longer making anybody any money. We're collectors. Collectors do things. Collectors modify cars. Collectors, you know, they do all kinds of things to stuff that they shouldn't do.
I've got so much pirated shit in my house. I always have a fucking patch over my eye.
Exactly. Let's not mess around, right? Now, when it comes to owning, you know, classic platforms and that, the CD systems Some of the early ones, for the sake of collecting, it's great because there's no copy protection on a lot of early CD systems, and the Neo-Geo CD was one of them. The original Neo-Geo CD came out after the AES system, and it had basically no protection at all, no region protection, no nothing. The games had the same information on the disc, and it would just basically display whatever the region of the console was it was played on.
So if some regions you weren't allowed blood, then you wouldn't have blood in your region.
That's right,
CD
yeah.
games, stuff like that. But you've got a mod, haven't you, for your Neo Geo CD that means you can unlock the blood within those games. Is that right?
There is something. Yeah, I'll get into that when we go to the games that actually show it best. But yeah, but the reason we think the Neo Geo CD is viable and is the best way into Neo Geo gaming today is because, have you seen the price of a Neo Geo AES?
One of my favourite games of all time, and I think he's the best 2D fighter ever made, hands down, is Garrow, Mark of the Wolves. But there's no way I'm paying for that. No way.
No.
When I'm getting a fucking really nice version of it on Xbox 360,
Yeah.
for when it's on sale, £2. As much as I'd love that cartridge on my shelf, it ain't happening.
No, Neo Geo AES prices, guys, are extortionate. I mean,
hundreds and hundreds of pounds.
Yeah,
a game.
The consoles themselves are like 200, 250 for a good example, and then you're looking at anything from £50 up to £600 for a cartridge.
It's mental.
I mean, it was expensive back in the day, but as a collector, you can't justify that.
No.
So they brought out the CD system to combat that, and they got it right. You can now get Neo Geo CD games. You could back then a lot cheaper, and they are virtually identical to the arcade hardware.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the inclusion of CD loading.
Yeah.
Now, the reason the CD got a bad rep, the console itself was still kind of expensive, but it had things like pricey controllers because they've got these cool little micro-switched thumb pads rather than D-pads or an analog stick. And these are some of the best controllers for a home console I think they've ever made.
You struggle to find them online because I looked before you managed to get me this one. And the cheap, I found one, £40. I thought, brilliant, I'll have that. Went on, it's broke. So you're looking at £40 non-functioning.
It's ridiculous.
You're talking 60, 70, 80 quid
and the
functioning.
The joysticks are even more extortionate.
And to find them in this country as well is another thing. So you're looking at paying 10, 15 quid postage. It's a lot of money just for a 4-button joystick.
Yeah,
it's a good pad,
Yeah.
It's a good pad, but
is it 60 quid good?
It goes to show that if you're going to start going down the Neo Geo route, even the cheap option is...
It's going to start to cost you money. It's not going to be like Mega Drive and SNES kind of money. You're talking serious money. So, but like the Neo Geo CD, it didn't make much sense back in the day. It got panned because the load times were slow with a single speed CD drive. But it's a bit of a misnomer, that one, because it's not the slow load times that were the problem. The problem was the system only had an extremely limited RAM cache, and the problem was that it could only load so much data into memory at the time.
See, now I've not got a tech head on me. Explain that, because that means very little to me.
Right, anybody who's messed with MAME will know that the size of a ROM for a Neo Geo game is massive compared to other games of the time.
Yeah.
Instead of being 3 or 4 megabytes a compressed file, they're several hundred megabytes each.
Yeah.
And that is because the sheer number of animation frames in there, the quality of the sound.
Games like Garrow, so smooth.
Yeah.
So many frames of animation.
There's so much animation, massive sprites, there's so much data to pack in there. It's no wonder they're so big. So you've got to pack that onto a CD, which technically, because of the format, is easy. But then you've then got to relay that data in real time onto the screen. Now, because of the price of solid state kind of components and stuff at the time, RAM was an expensive thing. You had a slow CD drive, so it couldn't access the data to be able to relay it directly to the screen back then. And people often say, well, other CD systems of the time managed. Think about it, right? The 3DO and the CDI were absolute flops and had very unreliable CD drives, didn't they? Mm-hmm. The Sega Saturn, you're a big Sega fan. It can
with
have
my Saturn, but
it can have pain. It can have pains in the arse with the loading as well, can't it?
It can have pains, and it can be very unreliable. I've been lucky. My Saturn's been going years, but I know loads of people that they've just the laser's gone. It's conked out. So
exactly. So you've got all that to consider. The Saturn. I mean, if you ever play a fighting game on the Saturn, one that sticks in my mind from back in the day was they released the first Marvel. The first in the kind of Marvel series, Marvel superheroes. And my
the
friend,
one that was not a crossover. It was
not a crossover. It was just the superheroes, and that had loading times before each bout.
Yeah.
And even though they weren't massive, they were obvious. And we were just coming into CD systems had gone from cartridges. It was a bit of a system shock to start seeing load screens and stuff again.
It was, yeah. And you've got to think as well, the Neo-Geo, a lot of it was reverse. I'm probably going to have tech heads screaming at the fucking screen at me because I'm getting it wrong. But what I'm trying to put across is a lot of this was sort of reverse engineered, if you like.
Yeah.
It didn't start there. It came from an arcade, from a cartridge.
Yeah.
And then to this.
So they
it
had
wasn't
to
like a Saturn which had Nights into Dreams put on it.
Yeah,
you know
it was made to take existing games and hardware and package it in a different way. So they had to find a way around it, and this was the best they could come up with. Now, as a system, it's a nice system. It's got quite sleek lines for the time.
It's fucking big.
It's got a nice it is a bit of a beast.
I mean, I know I compared it to the Saturn, but that's quite a lot bigger than the Saturn.
Yeah, it's probably got like the depth of like a Nintendo 64. Similar kind of
just
lines
this bit as well, with extra on top. The Nintendo 64 with a cartridge.
Yeah, and then you've got like just a basic CD loading tray, just to click down, click open affair there, and you've just got your power button there, and the little LED in the front. What it did have was quite a few inputs and outputs on the back, which is quite cool. On the back there, you can just go with straight RCA, which means it's easy to plug it into any TV. We've got S-Video socket, which wasn't popular over here, but obviously these systems didn't really get coverage over here. Have you ever used anything with S-Video?
Only when I'm trying to get someone to fucking connect to an event.
At
and
all.
Nothing else will work.
Yeah, exactly.
S-Video.
And I think that became the default for like Americans wanting high def, because they didn't have the luxury of SCART, did they? Yeah.
So.
And then, of course, we've got an AV multi out there, which will output composite, but you can also output RGB SCART that way as well. So you can get a high quality picture. Now, one big pain in the arse we have to discuss. Just open the door for them. One big pain in the arse we do have to discuss with the Neo-Geo CD is this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That thing there is the ball ache of anybody owning the system.
It couldn't be just a figure of 8, could it?
It was a standard socket on the original Neo-Geo, and for this they decided on this weird 3-pin triangular connection thing going on for the power, and it means that if your power supply goes, you're stuck trying to find another dedicated one. No one really creates reproduction ones. You basically have to hack your own together using other power supplies. So you have to look after your power supplies with these. But anyway, yeah, it was definitely a better system, better option for people wanting cheaper games and stuff. And obviously being able to copy them today means owning the system and playing the games is a lot easier to do and a lot more accessible. So the system itself, the Neo-Geo library consisted mostly of fighters and stuff, didn't it? And
well, it was from an arcade, so
yeah.
Well, that will bring us on to a fan translation in the works, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of them shoot 'em ups and fighters, things you find in an arcade, because obviously in an arcade you can't sit there for an hour playing something like Phantasy Star.
No, you can't.
So you're not going to find much beyond the fighter, shooter, brawler genre on this console. There is. I mean, do you want to talk about it now? The one that's in the translation that's in the works of Samurai. Is it
Samurai Spirits
RPG?
Something of Bushido. Oh God, I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah.
It's basically it was an RPG, very much like Final Fantasy, but using the Samurai Showdown characters.
Which when I first heard about it, I was like, I must own this, and then quickly got deflated when I found out it was Japanese text only. I know a bit of Japanese, But
But
you
not
know,
enough to carry you through an RPG.
yeah, I could say my apple is red. You know what I mean? That's about it, really. So that wasn't going to happen. But there are people working on a fan translation. And you showed me a YouTube. We'll put the link in the bottom of the most recent build of the translation.
Yeah.
And it just looks great. It really looks great. I hope they go all the way with it, to be honest with you, because I'd love to play it. Because although I love the Neo-Geo, I love shooters, love brawlers, love fighters. You know, my favourite games, Final Fantasy VII. To play, you know, Samurai Spirits, Samurai Showdown, RPG on a Neo-Geo. And it was one of the rare Neo Geo CD exclusives as well, if I'm right, because...
Yeah, it was a CD exclusive. It didn't come out on the other ones because it couldn't contain all the data that was needed. Because
obviously, coming from the arcade, the Neo Geo AS, the MVS, the arcade, it was all arcadey games, so there was no need to make an RPG. So they made that as one of the exclusives for the CD, and fingers crossed we'll get to play it soon.
Hopefully soon, yeah. But besides that, all the best Neo Geo titles are there. Oh,
Army Hearties!
So, things like the Metal Slug games. You haven't got all the Metal Slug games, but you've got Metal Slug 1 and 2. You've got Puzzle Bobble. You've got Samurai Showdown series. You know, you've got things like Viewpoint, Neo Drift Out, great little racer there. You know, there's so many awesome games. Street Hoop, one of my favourite basketball games.
I only played that for the first time a couple of months ago, and it's brilliant. And I'm not into sports games, so that's really good. King of the Monsters 2, that was only on the Neo Geo, was it? Because King of Monsters made it to like the Mega Drive and stuff, didn't it?
They did actually do. I think they did a port of one of them to the SNES. I think
Did
the
they?
Mega Drive got a port, but they
was that King of... I think that was King of Monsters 1, though.
It might have been King of Monsters 1.
I don't know whether this made it past the Neo Geo.
King of Monsters 2, out of interest, is one of the games that Dave Perry played on Games World on the very opening episode when he was one of the challengers.
Ah, right.
So,
you can't get away from Dave Perry.
I know. Magician Lord, that's a
good game.
Pretty good platform.
I've never played that.
Kabuki Clash, I'm not familiar with that one myself.
Sounds like a fighter.
It probably is. I honestly cannot remember. There's
Stop me whenever you're ready.
No, it's cool. Well,
that was a brawler, or it?
Mutation Nation, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is a side-scrolling brawler.
Now
yeah.
that I can get a fucking really good... Nothing world
now,
class,
1975.
but I can get a shit-hot score on that if anybody wants to send me their score. That would be cool.
Oh, also, cool little things as well. Just want to quickly mention this one, right? This is Thrash Rally, and you'll note a little note at the top there, MVS to CD. There were some games that were never actually released on the CD system, but were small enough and didn't cache enough graphics at once to not work. So what people have done is they've actually ported MVS games that were never
straight
released.
From the arcade to...
Straight from the arcade to the CD, and this is
Nice.
one of them. It does have a few graphical glitches, unfortunately. It's like an over-the-top kind of racer, if you know what I mean. And Giz it, I know. It's pretty cool to experience. There's a few games that have been done that way. Top Hunter, that's a pretty good game.
Yeah.
ADK Will.
I have no idea what that is.
No. 3 Count Bout, otherwise known as Fire Suplex. It's probably the...
Is that the wrestling?
It's the wrestling game, yeah.
You've got the... Well, obviously you've got a proper copy of all of these.
I have got a proper copy, yes. Yeah. 2020 Baseball, if that's your thing.
It's like American Rounders, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Aggressors of Dark Combat. I've played that. What's that now? I've played that.
That is a one-on-one fighting game set in like the past, I think, if I remember rightly.
Set in like the past. Do you want to be a bit more specific?
I think there's a time travel element. That's why I'm on.
Art of Fighting, yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows the Art of Fighting.
Art of Fighting, yeah. Cross Swords. That's weird and good. It's not first person. It's almost like first person, but it's over the shoulder.
Yeah.
And you got a silhouette of your knight.
Oh yes, I have seen that. Yeah.
That's really good. That's as close to a fucking bit of an RPG.
Was it Dynamite Duke? Was it? It was like
Dynamite Duke. Yeah. You got a silhouette.
Silhouette.
There was one on the Master System as well called Dead Angel.
Yes.
That kind of thing. Yeah. Cross Swords 2. I didn't even know there was a sequel.
Well,
Are we going to go through all these? Or?
No, I can pop them back now. We're going to start with the Metal Slugs. Right?
Okay. I'll better find them.
And I think probably the first one you fetched out, so the very bottom of that stack.
There you go.
Have you got both of them there, or just the one?
There you go.
Yeah, keep that out as well.
Okay.
Right, okay, so, hold on. Right, so, going to the games anyway, like I say, the system gets panned for not having great... Yeah, mate, this one. For not having great load times. And you'll start to see where they differ from the arcade versions when we fire this up in a second. So we're going to start with Metal Slug 1. It's a classic game. Now, this is not one of the worst offenders, in all fairness. This is like a run-and-gun scrolling platformer. Most people are familiar with Metal Slug. And the game itself has...
Oh yeah, Craig's just gone to get my phone that's on charge because we're going to get the stopwatch out.
And we're actually going to time this.
We're going to time the loading times and then we're going to swap it over to the Neo-Geo Z. Is that what it's called, Neo-Geo?
The Neo-Geo CDZ, yes. We'll talk about that in a minute, yeah.
And we're going to try the loading times on that. We're going to compare and contrast to...
And see what's different.
Coin a phrase of my old English teacher.
So we'll have to make some notes of these as we go along, because I don't have to keep on plugging both systems.
Yeah.
But right, so
you start it then, so I'll do the stopwatch.
Yeah.
Or do you want me? In fact, we'll turn it round to the screen.
Yes.
Get it right.
Go on, Lee.
Turn it on.
Right, ready, go. Yeah.
Hang on.
Oh, hang on. I ended on the right channel. Just get onto the right channel.
I'll tell you what. There's a stopwatch. I'll do it.
Okay.
You know how to work a stopwatch, yeah?
Yes, I do. Right, shut up, dogs. Oh, so everybody found it. Hit the side, didn't I? Right, okay. What is it?
Just ignore all the scat porn.
Let's just do some dumping thing. Oh, there we go.
The scat porn, dumping thing.
Right, okay, so hit the power button and we'll time from start up to... Have I plugged it in right?
Have you tested this one before?
I haven't. You know what? I haven't. Just sorry, guys. Technical glitch. Bear with me 1 second. I should have asked Aaron to bring his Neo-Geo. To be honest, I might have not.
There you go.
There
right, just forget Metal Slug 1. It's that's what you get for pirating other people's stuff. Now, are we going to do I don't think we should do a timing from here because there's interface and everything. Perhaps we should do it from title screen to first level. What do you reckon?
Well, no, because you'll get the. We'll try from here, right? In a second, just press. You have to just start. So
what have I got to press? Just start.
Just start. Yeah, in a second, it's just press start button. So right, so from here to loading, we'll give it a whirl.
So on 3 or after 3?
On 3.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
That was after, but no.
Oh, right, that's all good. So
what we're doing this to?
Right, so this is Metal Slug 2.
To the end of this bar, yeah?
Yeah, to the end of this bar. And this is the initial load of the game. Now, what's quite cool, I thought it was quite nice that each game's actually got this... they've all got their own like custom kind of loading screens. Well, not all of them have. Some of them have, but some of them haven't. And you have to kind of put up with this load. Now, we was on about this earlier. It's not a bullshit loading bar. On a lot of other platforms, the loading bar misleads you, makes you think more is louder than actually is.
34 seconds.
34 seconds, I believe that was, yeah. And that brings us into the title screen and everything.
Do you want to move straight over to the CDZ and see?
No, what we'll do, we'll reset and we'll do a load into the first game.
Okay, so we've got 34 seconds, you can remember that, yeah?
Yeah, I'm not sure when to press start. I think you have to press start a couple of times. So press start, and again. And then I think it's after you select your character.
Select, yeah.
So go into mission.
And go on.
Okay.
Right. I'm going to have Marco.
Go on.
I'll do it on 3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
See, it's not unattractive loading screens.
Does that change depending on what character you pick?
I think it does actually.
Well, we can try it when we.
We'll try it on the other one, yeah.
So what did we have before? 34 seconds, was it?
And he says monkey rules. I know the loading monkey is brilliant. Yeah, it's 34 seconds for the first section, and then we're on 30 seconds already for this. And we'll have you play through the stage just to show people. Oh, this is the boosted one, by the way, I think. Is it one of the silver CDs?
Yeah, I think it was.
So, I'll talk about this when it comes up in a sec, guys.
34 and 44, that's easy to remember.
34 and 44, pretty much. But of course, once the game loads in, it's loaded in. You know, the game is there. Oh, interesting point. It's the Japanese console, and obviously you can see on screen we've got the full blood and gore access, which you wouldn't have on the British or American versions.
Let's stab some Arabs.
Okay, oppressor. You ain't nice this now, mate. Such a cool game. Yeah, this game, guys, by the way, I've only recently discovered this, and this is a reason why I highlight the benefits of actually doing backups for yourself and working with copies. Metal Slug 2 was one game which had a massive amount of slowdown on the arcade, so much so that they remade it using the engine from Metal Slug 3 and called it Metal Slug X. We had slightly different music, slightly different enemies, slightly different bosses and things like that. This is like the real deal, and somebody recently discovered how to kind of overclock the game, so to speak, and but they were only now to do it on an original MVS or AES system. Somebody's actually worked out how to adjust the code for the CD, and so we're actually playing what's known as Metal Slug 2 Turbo, where most of the slowdown has been eliminated. You can tell when there's absolutely loads of shooting on screen.
It slows right down.
It slows right down on the original. On this, it doesn't slow right down. I mean, there's a bit of lag, but it doesn't slow to the pace that the original arcade did.
Some games do it intentionally, and when they not rebooting, but when they put them on, say, the Wii Virtual Console or something, some of them will put in the slowdown,
so
as you can play it in the same way and dodge the bullets in the same way as you did before.
That's it. But, I mean, you can see with this, there's no serious slowdown going on. There's no other loading going on. And you'll say you'd notice it a lot on the boss fights. And you don't really get the slowdown like you get on the arcade. I'd say there's a little bit of frame skipping going on. I think intentionally that's why they've done it. But it's not slowing down. And usually, but at this point, it's slowing down like there's no tomorrow.
Fuck!
Yeah, you died, mate.
I was doing really well.
Gotta love Metal Slug.
Fuck
Nice
it.
win.
Apart from that one little hitch, that was fucking
Nice
perfect.
win. There we go. And then obviously that's the end of stage 1, and then it will now load obviously the next stage. So as far as loading goes, games like this were never such a big problem, were they?
It never bothered me. I'll be honest, it got a bit of a nightmare when it was the later games, the fighters, and it was between rounds. But other than that, I don't really care. Yeah, that was fine.
Well, remember those times, 33 and 44?
No, 34 and 44.
34 and 44. What we're going to do now is we're going to kill this. Like I say, 30 seconds, a minute between levels is not a long time to wait, I don't think.
No.
So that's not a problem to anybody. I think what really bothers people more is the fact the loading screens, they've got no background music, the loading bar is honest.
Yeah.
And they're very plain, and I think it kind of, there's no getting away from the fact you're waiting for your game to load. It's very in your face. So what we'll do now is we're going to show one of the worst offenders now. We're going to show a fighting game.
Are we going to remember all these times?
I'll remember the times for this, don't worry about that. It's
we're not going to time this, we're just going to show it for the,
the
pain in the arse that it is.
Yeah, the pain in the arse that it is. Let's pick... right, I would show King of Fighters, but I've got to be honest, I don't think I've got a version of King of Fighters that works on both. So I'm going to try and pick something like... Voltage Fighter, Cowgeyser, World Heroes Perfect. I think that should do it actually. We'll try that.
Great game as well.
World Heroes Perfect, yeah, because it's a fighting game, so we'll have to load.
I think it was the last of the World Heroes. You had World Heroes 2, then you had World Heroes Jet, was it?
World Heroes 2 Jet.
2 Jet,
yeah.
And then World Heroes Perfect.
Oh, I can never remember the sequence, to be honest.
Right, are we timing this or are we just going to show it?
No, we're just going to show it, because obviously you're going to show what a pain in the arse some of the fighters can be. Like I say, good games, but if you're going to want to play these, you're going to want to do this on an MVS, an AES. And at the end of the day, there is a magical third option when it comes to the home for Neo-Geo. And I'm not talking about the Neo-Geo X, which is a subject for another day. What I'm talking about is the consoleized MVS, which is where you can take original MVS hardware and basically make it into a self-contained console. A few people are doing that. You've probably seen them.
Is that what that new little mini build is?
No, that is actually using emulation.
Oh, right, okay.
But so we've been waffling on there for like 45 seconds, a minute there just to load, and then you hit the game start. And at least we are straight into the.
I was going to say some of them have loading screens between that.
Some of them will have a load screen before the character select. I always pick the weird bison-looking guy on this for some reason.
That German extendo dude.
Yeah, Brocken, I think his name is on this. So yeah, then you got a load screen here before round 1.
Tum-ti-tum.
And when it comes to fighting games, you're kind of psyched. You don't really want to be waiting between rounds because it kind of doesn't pump you up enough, does it?
Yeah.
And if you're losing, you've got to put up with that every time.
Oh, Rasputin, he's quite a good... They proper gayed him up as well. That wouldn't work in today's climate. A big gay Rasputin.
So they made him quite camp, didn't
Do you know
they?
what... Yeah, not only that, you know one of his special moves?
What?
It's like, I forget which one it was, they brought finishing moves in.
Yeah.
One of his finishing moves was, he takes his top off, he pulls you into like a rose bed and rapes you. Yeah.
That's really weird. Well, I would say you were winning a second ago, mate, but...
I usually have Bruce Lee.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. Whatever his name
That's
is,
my
he's
excuse.
Bruce Lee. Oh.
Foot!
Big foot to the face.
Right, I'm paying attention now. Look at
Oh, no.
So gay.
But you know what? Like I say, this isn't even one of the worst offenders, is it?
God, now there's so much...
The King of Fighters games, like I say, unfortunately I haven't got a working King of Fighters to show you that will work on both systems. I have got, in fact I can show you how bad it is on this because I have got a copy of this, so I can show you at least on this system. And we'll show you just how bad it can get. I think the last one released in the system was King of Fighters 98. Yes, so we're going to give that a
And on the CD system.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think they went on quite a bit there.
I didn't mean like in the grand picture of things, I just meant on the
No,
CD
I mean
system.
on the home consoles.
Yeah. That was probably the one of the last ones released. Right, I know you're probably not about to win, wrong.
No, man, you got to let me fucking finish
I'll
this.
cut you off.
Oh, you bastard.
Nah, go on, man. Can you beat him?
Of course I can fucking beat him.
Nice win. And then obviously there you'll be presented with another loading screen. Now, to see how bad it can get, now we're going to put in probably the worst offender, and it is an offender. It makes you want to lose the will to win.
It's one of my favourite fighting games, but on this, I want to say it's unplayable, but I would never choose to play it.
It's terrible. Right, so here we go. You're going to see how bad things can really get now with this. Oh, there you go. Andy says actually King of Fighters 99 was the last on the CD. But to be honest, isn't King of Fighters 98 regarded the best in the series?
One of them, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's between that and 2002, is it? I don't know.
2002 is really good. They released quite a few of them on like Xbox Marketplace and stuff, which was great.
Which is curious because usually when it comes to fighting games, the further in the series you go, the better it should be because there's more characters and more moves.
Yeah.
And yet, you know...
Then again, I mean, I don't know. It's like a lot of people, purists, would regard Street Fighter 3 Third Strike as the best. Me personally, I prefer Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you think Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, when did that come out? 1990... Oh, I don't know, 7, 8, I don't know, something like that.
Gotta have been, yeah, something like that.
And a lot, you know, so we've been doing on 2 decades. 2 decades.
10 decades?
10 decades.
Are you 100 years old, mate?
It's been a while,
Fucking
mate.
hell.
It's been a while. Right, team play.
Yeah, you definitely want to pick team. So we've just had a load screen. Now we've got
a mini load
screen into the character select screen. And you've got to pick 3 characters for a team in King of Fighters. So that's 3 massive sprites it's got to load in plus the enemy. And you have picked the 3 best characters, but...
Oh, don't fuck about, mate.
I'm telling you. Mike says third strike was 99. Okay, Mike.
All far off.
You're close. So, yeah, we've now got loading for this bit.
Which is understandable, but considering what we've already had,
Yeah.
and we're still looking at it.
And there's no progress bar. I mean, it's great that you can see something else, but no progress bar. You wouldn't
And
even
we're
know
still looking at it.
And you wouldn't even know if it fucking crashed at this point.
And we're still looking at it.
And you know what? I haven't even tested this console, so for all we know...
That could have crashed.
It could have crashed.
But with this game, you can't tell, because it takes that fucking long.
It does.
Oh, I can hear the CD.
The CD's too.
There
There we go. So we're in. So we're on to round 1.
Ready?
And that's the CD accessing, by the way. Sounds very much like the woman on Puzzle Bobble as well. Ready, go!
Yeah.
I mean, it looks nice. It looks as good, obviously, as the originals, because it's the same damn game.
Yeah.
You know. So, you're about to win your first round. Awesome. Let's keep fighting.
Yeah, man, come on. Get up, you old cunt. Come on.
And then we get this.
Ah.
And we have to load again. So that's like what, a minute for first load? Probably 10 seconds into the character select screen. Probably what, was about a minute for the first round.
That was about 20 seconds.
That was about 20, 30 seconds then. Lose this one.
You want me to lose this one? Oh, God, have I got to? Look, he's so shit though. Oh.
I know. But people need to see how punishing fighting one match on this game can be. It is a great game though, isn't it?
Oh, that was brilliant.
You actually find it hard to lose.
Come on! Fucking hell! Oh,
No need to pause it, mate. No need to pause it. Don't pause it in anger.
Oh man, he beat me.
Oh, I beat you.
Have I got to win or lose the next one?
Do what you want to, but again, we go back to a loading screen.
Oh no.
Now, bear in mind, we're only now up to each player's second fighter. There's still 2 more fighters after this, and we haven't, you know...
About 20 seconds, that is. I mean, we got a little bit of a few seconds
Yeah.
there. About 20 seconds.
I mean, if you're good at the game, a fight isn't even going to last 20 seconds,
Yeah.
is it? Now, you play this properly now, kick his arse.
I can't
And
wait.
he doesn't retain his energy, so... Or die, whichever comes first.
I'll be honest, I never really play as Andy.
Did
So...
he play as Andy? Oh, that'll explain why.
Okay.
He's basically the Ryu Ken clone, isn't he? And obviously, if you start the next round with just a little bit of energy like that, as you're about to...
Oh, yeah. Well, let's see now.
So we'll see. So you finished that with a tiny bit of energy. It's now got a... We're loading again.
So potentially, this could spend another 20 seconds loading and one hit Bosch over
Yeah.
more loading.
Rich says, I like how you get time to be ready. He says, ready?
Yeah.
And then to pause.
Ready? Yes.
94 is not so bad, Andy. Yeah, you're right. It's just, everything got more advanced, you know what I mean? There wasn't a delay that time. But obviously you started with that much energy, so in seconds this round could potentially be over, couldn't it? And then you'd be loading again. Well, you wouldn't. Well, yeah, you would, because you've got one character left, wouldn't you?
Fuck off.
So there you go. So what?
That was over quick.
That was over quick.
Another loading screen.
And then you went to another loading screen. So what went from a fast tag match game as it originally was has now become a chore of more waiting than gameplay.
Or at least 50-50.
Well, yeah, probably about 50-50, yeah. And, you know, you could probably deal with it if you're hardcore, but to the layman, it's more than you can bear when you're playing the entire round through. If you've got to go through and complete the game, I mean, you've got how many fights? Probably 10 fights before the boss fight. It's going to take you hours to get through, isn't it? To be fair, Ryo is pretty shit off. You like your shot out characters. You got to win it, mate, just to score one back.
Trying to practice me ops. I forgot him.
I don't like how short her skirt is, sexist.
No, sexist, get it off. But it should be left in the 90s. One of the best fighting games should be left in the fucking 90s.
I demand that someone comes on and edits the game and removes that.
Yes, and she's a schoolgirl as well.
Yeah.
It's probably, I mean, the Japanese age of consent, I think, is 13, so that's definitely unacceptable.
Yeah, it's just wrong, innit?
It's
no,
wrong.
Not having it. Let's erase it from history.
You are a wiener.
You are a wiener. So that's how bad it can get, guys, and you can see why people grumble about it. And like I say,
As long as you stay clear of this and a couple of other exceptions,
yeah,
it don't really matter. If you don't mind playing the PlayStation and you don't mind playing the Saturn, you shouldn't mind playing this.
and you know what? That is my. I'm going to turn back to you for a second. That is my point. That is my point entirely. When people are cussing down this system, they're forgetting that. Okay, the games were only 3D, and yeah, the newer platforms started to get 3D and things like that. But you got to remember at the end of the day that
I don't think it's worth an extra £200 to save yourself 20 seconds of loading.
No, it's not. And compared to its contemporaries, I hope the mic can still pick me up. Compared to its contemporaries, PlayStations and Saturns probably had. Well, they did have, because I did some time in at work. Their early games, in particular, you know, they had. I mean, even up to the PS2 era, you're looking at 3 minutes for a load of Grand Theft Auto on a long.
Was it
game.
really?
It can be up to that long, yeah. You've got games like things like even Destruction Derby on the PS1, one of the first titles.
I remember a lot of
loading.
Specifically the Psygnosis, and not because of bad design, it's because their games were often really advanced. Things like Colony Wars. It looked like, I mean, you wouldn't look out to place on early PS2.
Oh, that's
and
right.
that was early PS1, do you know what I mean?
But even though
that's a lot to...
Even though these games seem basic compared to them, at the time this first came out, these games were pretty advanced, so comparing it to other consoles that are available, it's not unreasonable to see and expect there to have been a decent amount of loading going on. Do you know what I mean?
Just getting my bitch to make me a Jack Daniels and Coke. Oh, he bent over as well, he dropped an ice cube. Can you drop another one, sweetheart? But without being sexist.
Yeah, without being sexist.
Okay.
So yeah, it's no better or no worse than, you know, other consoles and then their load times. And
other than that odd exception, like King of Fighters 98.
Yeah, it's the frequency. The biggest problem wasn't the CD access times. The biggest problem was the lack of RAM. Without the RAM, it couldn't load enough data, because I'd prefer it if you'd had a 3-minute load time and then...
Whoa, don't go mad,
Sorry, mate.
You can put that in a pint glass.
I'd prefer it if you'd had a 3-minute load time and then had no loading in between.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think that would have been better, you know, if it was possible. But obviously, they were going with whatever the limitations were.
Do you think that was possible and they chose not to, or it wasn't possible?
Yeah, I think the console itself, because it's still the same arcade hardware, the cost of the hardware was still the same, so obviously they were trying to keep costs down where they could. And the only way to do that was to use a cheap RAM. And obviously the trade-off then is obviously came in that it could only do certain blocks at a time, and that's why you then...
As in rounds?
Yeah, as it can only do like a round or so at a time. So, I might as well leave it on the table just to show, eh?
Can I have 2 bottles of Coke, please?
Yes.
Oh.
There you go, mate. Top it up.
Cheers, mate. You must all. Yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly... I'll tell you the only thing I genuinely... I wouldn't say dislike, but which upsets me a bit, I think.
Go on.
The library. Because some people might think, It's a CD version of an AES. It's got all the AES games.
Yeah.
It ain't. It's missing quite a bit. And it's
Yeah.
missing one of my favourites, Garrow Mark of the Wolves.
Garou, yeah, unfortunately.
Garrow looks a lot more advanced and feels a lot more advanced than King of Fighters 98. So I don't, because that was Garrow Mark of the Wolves was the last Fatal Fury game.
Yeah.
It was set after the King of Fighters games. That's why Terry's not where he's at anymore and
That's
stuff
right,
like that.
because of course, obviously, the Japanese title for the Fatal Fury games is Garou.
Garou, yeah.
Garou Densetsu, isn't it?
Yeah. Bless you.
He's the Japanese title for the game. So now what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to switch over
Time comparison.
and we're going to show a comparison. Now, we covered it briefly just. Let me introduce you to it now. This is the Neo-Geo CDZ. This was their attempt to fix things, basically.
Go for Slash.
Okay. So this was this was their attempt to fix things. It's a much smaller console, as you can see. It's got a much better mechanism at top. We've got a proper push button lid release, and it's a much nicer seal and a much nicer mechanism. I can tell you from having these in boxes that, you know, with this one, it's quite easy to fell the lid, you know, by just resting something on top, and it can get a bit sticky and awkward. So a little bit of a pain, and this one is a lot smaller as well. A bit more rare, and I would say a little bit more flash. I actually prefer the look of this one. This one is also weird in that it's got an even stranger connector on the back. Just like the other one, it's identical power supply, but the connector is a weird T-shape, so even more strange. But it does use the same controllers. Obviously, you can use any controllers with any Neo-Geo. But the real ace up the sleeve for this one was it had an updated BIOS, and it actually had a faster CD. The details around it are quite sketchy. It's purported to have a 2-speed CD drive, but people have actually done like benchmark tests and discovered it's not actually a 2-speed CD drive. I think it's a 1.8 speed CD drive or something weird like that.
So do you reckon that SNK bumped up the figures?
Yeah, I think they did. I don't know if that's even advertised as double speed, but it was definitely faster. And I think they upped slightly the amount of RAM that's there and optimised some of the code in the BIOS, and that's how they actually squeezed a bit more speed. But the problem is, by the time this came out, the writing was on the wall. You know, the PlayStation.
Back in the day, I had no idea it had even come out.
No.
I'd never heard of it till becoming a collector in the early noughties,
Yeah.
and I was looking. That's when I first heard of it.
Well, even though the Neo-Geo originally got a UK release, and the UK systems are quite rare, I don't know if the CDZ actually ever did get a UK release. It might have done, and I'm not sure, but I'm not sure the CDZ.
I'm
ever
sure
got a
Mike will
UK
tell
release.
us.
Yeah, somebody, Andy might be able to look it up actually while we're looking at this. But either way, like I say, it solves a lot of the problems, but it did introduce a new one. The first one being, this hasn't got as optimal cooling as the original has got. So apparently after several hours of gameplay, a game can stop working.
You could fry an egg on it.
Yeah.
So it's like the Xbox One, really.
Yeah, so you do have to be careful. The second thing being the weird power supply. The third thing is...
Sorry to interrupt, is it a different power supply to this?
It's the same ratings, and you can use the power supply from this on this because it will fit.
Right.
But it's a T shape at the end. So it's the same pins, it's just a weird T shape.
So it fits, but not correctly.
Yeah, so you could use a power supply from this for that, but you couldn't use a power supply from that for this.
Got you. Okay.
And I don't know why they would do that. It's a bit weird. So, but anyway, yeah, apparently this solved the problem by allowing it to access the games faster, but it also introduced one more problem. They finally introduced a rudimentary copy protection, which we've been talking about. And this caused me a problem because some of the games I'd already burned.
Well, it caused you a problem, but it did me a great service.
Yes, it did. Some of the games I'd burned for this as backups wouldn't work on this. Mostly the first party top titles as well, which really sucked. I thought there was a laser problem. I wasn't even aware of that until I actually bought it. So I had to do my research. But thankfully, again, and this is a beauty of the modern era, it's very easy to patch the games, and that's exactly what I've done. I've re-backed up the games, and I've applied the patch, and those games which were protected are now working. So there's always a way around it.
And what have you done with the games that you couldn't get working?
Give them to you.
Is it?
So, exactly, it's all good. So now what we're going to do is we've got a slightly updated BIOS, which looks a lot nicer. And we're going to show what the difference is in the loading times. We're going to time Metal Slug just to show you, and that's not like an extreme exaggeration of the loading times, but you can imagine the difference it might make when
This is a first for me. I've never played one of these, so I've never experienced the loading time. So I'm quite looking forward to. Is there supposed to be a drastic difference?
Yeah, it's noticeable. It is noticeable, especially on like a longer gameplay session, because you tend to forget about the loading times, if you know what I mean. Whereas they're really in your face the rest of the time. So you've got the controller there, and
yeah,
is the thing you set up.
The stopwatch is ready for you.
So it was Metal Slug 2 we were focusing on, wasn't it? So
yeah,
move it on. So if you want to pop that in, this is actually as well got a push release system, a bit like the GameCube had. So it kind of clicks onto that. So
there's me thinking the GameCube was the first one to do it.
No, the Neo-Geo CDZ is the one that did. So I think everything's plugged in. We've got power to the power supply, and we're timing the game where we're timing
from when does the BIOS come up and I'll press start again?
No, I think it will actually go through it. So I'll have to manually kind of do this. I think after this, which is slightly different though. I think it will just automatically start loading the game. You don't have to actually press start, so I'll do it as soon as this splash screen's gone off. Right, it starts to access now, so I'm starting the timer from there. Oh, well, that's good.
That timer could be going on for a long time.
Well, that was good, wasn't it?
So what do you think that is? Because obviously we've played that. That's worked on the other one.
It's worked on this. That's what's bothering me.
Oh, you've played
it, yeah. Maybe I do have a slightly iffy laser. I did clean it, so...
Is it my mucky fingers?
It might have been. It's a bit more sensitive than the other one in laser spec, so it might have been. Let's just double check that. Let's try that again. It does work because, like I say, I've been playing it, so it should work just fine.
I should stop putting my fingers in mucky places.
Yeah, definitely should.
Hang on, reset the thing.
Right. So after this...
Oh yeah, do not adjust your set. My phone screen is fucked.
So it should start loading and not fail this time, hopefully. There we go, it's working fine this time. I think
so it was just over 34 seconds before.
34 seconds, we're up to 11 seconds and we're nearly there.
It's looked like it's going to be a third quicker. 19
seconds. So that's a 15-second increase on the load time.
Yeah.
That's quite a big difference.
If we get on for half, it's double speed, we reckon. So.
Yeah, it is. And you reckon about 50% at least. He's probably right there. 15 seconds, gone from 34 seconds to 20 seconds.
Right, I'm going to try the different loading screen. I'll do it on 3, yeah?
Yep.
1, 2, go. Now we had 44 seconds on this.
44 seconds, yeah. So you can see the loading screen there, you can see the timer, and you can see it's already motoring along a lot faster than it was.
And you've got different loading screens, character specific?
Yes, you have. You have indeed. 18, 19, 20.
What's her name now? I forgot.
I don't know, I missed on the start. And that is 24 seconds, that was. 20 seconds faster.
We'd talk again on for twice the...
Nearly twice the speed, yeah. And it can make a massive difference when you're on a long session. It will probably make games like King of Fighters playable.
Sorry, I'm just stabbing Arabs.
Go for it.
I am just going to stab them this time if I can.
I do actually notice there's actually a little bit of picture interference through the RTAs on this. Can you see the bit of colour banding there in the top corner?
I can, yeah.
No, that wasn't there before.
I didn't notice.
I
could lie and pretend I did. But...
No, well, obviously I was paying attention to that. I saw it in his sword then as well. You can definitely see it now.
Like a bit, yeah, like almost like a strobing.
Yeah, there's like a weird colour banding inside the, just above where it says 1 up in the corner there. I do know the graphics process is slightly different and less shielded in this. That could be why.
It's picking up interference.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, look at the turret shooting me. They've got that colour banding
you can
around
see
as well.
it, can't you? There's actually a little bit of distortion there. So, you know, I think if I was to use an RGB SCART cable, that would go away, because it's a different socket on the back. But we're just using crappy RCA outs, you know what I mean? So, if we had them side by side, we had both plugged into the TV at once, it would be an easier comparison, but we haven't got the luxury of that, so. But like I say, it does make a hell of a difference anyway to...
I mean, if you're going to go around stabbing Arabs, you don't want your blade to strobe there.
No, you don't.
Woo!
You died.
Alright.
But you know what? It's a much nice looking system. You know, I do like the look of it, and I can tell you that unlike the laser that's in there, you can still get brand new replacement lasers for this.
Can you?
Quite readily. So I think this might actually. I mean, I was debating, guys.
So if your old black Neo-Geo CD dies, that's the laser dies, you're fucked.
No, you're not fucked. They're still available, just not as readily available as they are in this one.
Okay.
Which is weird when you consider that this was the rarer system.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Well, we've decreased to 2 watches, so I'll have to
that's more than my podcast.
We'll knock you on the head in a minute, I think. Yeah, I think we've been on for 2 hours, so that's probably what everyone to do.
Yeah. That's still 50% more. No, 100% more than my podcast. Yeah.
I do love the metal sub down, so they're awesome. Battering it with a camel.
Did you ever play? Well, I know you played it.
Nice.
Because you've got it on your cabs. SNK versus Capcom Match of the Millennium on the Neo-Geo Pocket Colour. It's like the Street Fighter.
Yes, I've got one of them, but I can't remember which one I've got.
Did you play the mini games? There's a Ghouls and Ghosts mini game.
I never knew that.
And there's a Metal Slug mini game.
I never knew that.
I've got it in that bag over there. We can have a look at it.
I'll have to look into that one.
There you go then. That's that.
So yeah, when you can see that bar motion along at the bottom there, that's a lot different. Right, I'm going to say this now because I'm kind of getting ahead of it in advance, right? It's going to kill me a bit, but people are going to be watching this back. Basically, I bought both these Neo Geos with the intention. I mean, I bought the CDZ because it's rarer. I love to collect hardware, but it cost me a pretty penny, and I've got to make some money back on that. I think I've made my decision, and as much as I do like the design of the original and the fact it's a bit more compatible,
you're going to give it to me.
I've got to keep the rare one. You've already got one.
I can have 2.
So, anybody who's interested, guys, I am going to be selling the original Neo Geo CD here. You can see it's fully working and everything from this video. I'm not quite sure how much for yet, but if anybody's in the market for buying a Neo Geo CD and likes what they've seen, give me a shout, and I'll
it's worth getting.
Yeah, it's a great.
I love mine.
And while you're at it, I mean, if you really like your Neo Geo,
see, he has got the actual. One of the custom sticks.
Yes, if you do like your Neo Geo, a lot of people know that obviously I've built custom arcade projects and stuff. I've built a couple of these now for my systems. They're using proper, good quality half arcade parts. Is that nice?
Yeah.
And it's laid out just like the original big red Neo Geo cabs were. So if you want a good quality controller, getting controllers, we've already discussed how expensive they are. You're looking at £60 plus for one of these. You're looking at anything 80-90 quid for the Neo Geo AES joysticks. There's also a joystick that was made for the CD, which is like a kidney bean shape, and that can cost you anything up to £100 as well. If you're going to go to that expense, you could have one of these fully custom made with proper arcade joystick and buttons, a lot more robust, you know, it still fits on your lap and everything.
Would you do artwork for it as well?
Oh yeah, if you want custom artwork and then I can do all that. But I mean, if you want to go with a proper Neo-Geo joystick, we can make you something like this. The only reason we've not used them tonight is because
we've got new pads and we wanted to try them.
We've got new pads and we wanted to try them, and there ain't enough room on the table. That's the bottom line. If you do want one, drop me a line and I can do you one of these. I'll have to double check the costings again, but they're compatible with AES CD, CD-Z, and the MVS consoleized if you've got the original Neo-Geo 21-pin ports. Right, so anyway, that was our video on all things retro as of today.
Well, we've done Spectrum Next a bit, we've done Your Game.
Yeah.
We've done Tits and Arse and Dave Perry.
We have.
Who is a tit and an arse.
Yeah.
And we've done some Neo Geo CD comparisons.
Yeah.
The Neo Geo CD-Z and the original Neo Geo CD. And one is twice as swift as the other.
It is indeed. I'm quite pleased about that. And I don't want to hear no more bad mouthing of these consoles because the games are awesome. The load times ain't that bad to live with. You probably wait, I mean, let's face it, you do wait longer to wait for a shitty game of fucking Fortnite. You know what I mean? You spend 2 minutes sitting around in a lobby, 5 minutes watching dickheads dance.
See now, even though I don't play Fortnite, I know you've got the same opinion in regards to Overwatch, and I love Overwatch. So
yeah, but regarding load times and that, you know exactly where I'm coming from.
I do, yeah.
People sit around in lobbies waiting longer to start a match on modern games these days. So
and there's no real difference between this and the PlayStation,
no,
which is,
not.
Let's face it, one of the king of consoles. So there's no difference.
So quit bitching about the Neo Geo and go out and get yourself one. Maybe even buy this one. Anyway.
And what's wrong with a pair of tits?
Oh.
Bye.
You're a strange bloke.
Yeah, I know.